Merry meet Capricorn, Capricorn sun sign, rising sign, and or moon sign. This is a 2-week reading for all Capricorns starting today, the 11th of January, 2025. I keep saying the wrong year on the other one, 2025. This is Ariel, and today I'm reading with the Trionfi della Luna, and I've already purified with this beautiful Florida water. You can find links to purchase those products right in the video description of this video. Let's see what's in the cards for all you gorgeous Capricorns. Starting off with the Ace of Cups, wouldn't you know? 9 of Wands, and the Hanged Man. This is very Capricornian. So having all of that joy, having all of that inner peace. Sometimes for a Capricorn, all of us cardinal signs, we're all similar in that way. Is when we get too much peace and joy, it's like, wait a minute. Too much peace and joy, that doesn't sound right. But where's the hardship? Where do I sign up for more work and more hard and more challenging and more difficult, right? And so we are very good, we cardinal signs, at taking the peace and the joy that we've been working so hard on and turning it into fatigue. And it's just because we think that we can suffer enough to be successful. We think that's this Hanged Man. It's possible to suffer enough to earn love, to earn success, to earn happiness. And if it comes easily, it's not worth it. And there's something wrong with it. And it's suspect. And it's such a typical, not just for the cardinal signs, but for everybody. Everybody goes through that. But we cardinal signs and you Capricorns are good at it. We're really good at that, at increasing the stress level and increasing the pain level in areas where those things aren't really necessary, just because we have this uninformed idea that without stress and pain and fatigue, that it wasn't really worth it, that we didn't try hard enough, we didn't work hard enough. So let's open this up and see what else it says about that, because, you know, on some level, there's a correctness to that. It's like sometimes if things are too easy in this world, it is possible that you might be skipping a step. But at the same time, it can be easy and peaceful, and you work hard. It doesn't have to be fatiguing. It doesn't have to feel like sacrifice. Excuse me. It doesn't have to feel like a challenge and a chore necessarily, in order for it to be hard work. The Empress, see, that's a very it's a very different way of manifesting prosperity than this. Let's look here. Oh, nice. So then we've got 2 9s. We got the 9 of Wands, and then we also have the 9 of Coins. Very different ways of dealing with that 9 energy. And then this gorgeous Queen of Wands, which is great for you. All right, so what we want to do is, first of all, say no to not only people in situations that we don't want to be around, or that, you know, that we don't have time for, or that we don't want to do. We definitely don't want to feel like we are compelled to say yes to things that we don't want to do. But based on this reading, it's not so much that. It's more saying no to yourself when it's time to go for the hardest thing, or say, you know, shut something down because it's too easy, or because it's too pleasurable, or because you're enjoying it too much, because you've made up your mind that unless it's hard, it's not real. Unless it's painful or sacrifice, it's not good enough. This is an erroneous idea, and it's a way of looking at the world upside down. So if you call upon a higher power, it doesn't matter what you call it, you know, if you call on an angel or a god or goddess or spirit guide, or just your higher self, your superconscious mind, to look at it differently, they'll show you how to see things the right way. And you're in a lot more powerful of a position than you believe. And it's going to tell you, that power is going to say, put your foot down, unbind yourself, get down off the tree, and you can get busy without all of the pain, without all of the hardship, without all the self-sacrifice. In fact, that this is actually slowing you down. Instead, what you want to do is just nurture what's before you. Nurture, and you've got plenty. There's Capricorn, you are doing so well. You've got plenty to nurture in front of you, but nurture it and let it grow. Don't let it consume you. There's a big, big difference between being the nurturer and being devoured by something. So you don't want to be devoured by anything, especially not your work, which is what this represents. Instead, you want to nurture your work, and you want to allow for some ease and allow, if the farmer overtends the garden or overtends the fields, it actually can kill them. It actually makes it worse, not better. You have to find that, as a gardener, you have to find that balance of giving the right giving all of the right opportunity and all of the right soil and all of that to the water and fertilizer to the plants that you're trying to tend. But you don't want to over prune them or over do anything, because then you'll hinder their growth. A lot of being a good gardener is just waiting and letting, allowing, watching. And that's the same thing that is being called on here for you. Don't overtend your garden. Do enough, but not too much. When you can do that, instead of feeling fatigued, what then you become is magnetic to the resources that you need, because then that garden starts to really be fruitful and give you everything that you want, that you're working for. But sometimes if you work too hard for it, you make it worse, not better. Now, this Empress's lesson is don't do anything. She's like, sure, I have people for that. You don't have to do anything. And it's not so much the that she's got people for that she's exploiting. It's that she's got mental people for that. She's got thought forms that'll do everything for her. And so what her lesson is to find poise, is to find peace and poise in your throne, and have that nice, tall posture, both mentally and physically, and allow that peace and that poise to adjust your magnetism so that everything you want comes to you. Everything you want comes to you. And then the tending and the nurturing is just a beautiful, peaceful, joyous experience. And it's not so overly laborious. It's not so fatiguing. And you don't feel stuck anymore. You feel free and in awe of the grandeur of the way the universe works. There's really very little difference in the process of planting a seed or a cutting, things like that in the ground, versus planting a thought form in the fertile ground of your mind. It's the same kind of thing. You have to do a little tending, a little pruning, and you have to make sure that you give it the right environment for growth, the right soil, the right nourishment, the right water, all of that. And the way you do that with your thought forms is the water and the soil and the fertilizer is your attitudes and your thinking, your words. So you don't want to say, think, or do things that counter-indicate and that go against your seeds that you're planting, your desires. But if you can really plant those desires of what you want in your mind, and you keep that uplifted attitude, the tending is going to be what's ever right, like we said before, what's ever right in front of you to do. And you're going to take one thing at a time, and you'll be guided and led by listening to that still small voice within you. And sometimes that voice is going to say, just leave it alone. And you'll heed that. Sometimes it'll say, no, get in there and weed the garden or water or whatever it is. And I'm talking symbolically here because we're talking about the garden of your mind. And then rather than fatigue, what you get is prosperity. But if you're planting seeds of fatigue, you're going to get more fatigue. And if you have the idea that I can get prosperity through fatigue, then you will get some prosperity with a lot of fatigue, because those are the kinds of seeds that you're planting. But what you're being encouraged to do is listen to this Empress and plant the seeds, and don't get so involved with it, and simply just allow peace and poise to enable the garden of your mind to be fertilized, watered, and cared for. Isn't that wonderful? I love that. So we do have 2 meditations indicated here. This Empress meditation, it's called Lessons from the Goddess of Prosperity. And then this one here for the Hanged Man, the meditation that I have is called Using Your Sacred Power of No. And you can find each of those on the YouTube channel, but you can, if it's easier for you, you can follow the link right in the video description of this video that goes right to my website, and they're listed, and it's pretty easy to find. And you just click on whichever one you want to listen to, and then that meditation comes up. And all of this, of course, is free. Now, before we end, I want to just spend a moment on this. I want to remind you that this Ace of Cups in this position here is saying that you've been working on this. You've been working on the ability to manifest peacefully. You've been working on the ability to have your life work in ways that aren't fatiguing, that are easier, that are more joyous. Now that it's happening, you don't want to say, "Oh, well, wait a minute, that can't work. I've got to get in there and get tired and upset and prove to the universe that I'm working hard enough." So don't contradict yourself. You've asked for this, follow it through, and just give yourself, just as a science experiment. I'm not going to let myself get fatigued. I'm not going to let myself get tied up in knots over things. I'm going to keep my peace and my poise, and I'm going to tend this garden with a light hand. And I'm going to ask for guidance, and I'm going to just do what's in front of me to do as it comes. And I'm not going to get too upset or overwhelmed by anything. I'm just going to watch all of these beautiful manifestations come together for me, and come to me. And this manifestation is very natural. It'll come in very natural ways, just like fruits of a tree, or vegetables in a garden, or flowers in a garden. So you're doing great, Capricorn. Keep it up, but just know that it doesn't have to be this old version of you, this hard work, pain, suffering, sacrifice. That stuff is not necessary anymore, and that's because you've already done a lot of work on this. So you should harvest the fruits of your labor, and you've done well. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, and we'll see you in another 2 weeks for another reading, Capricorn. Until then, blessed be.